Okay, so after searching and tracking an orc pack to see where they'd set up camp to help with the current plight of the small village of Tavos Ren, finding said camp, having your position revealed and alerted, and promptly fighting and eliminating the orcs that had set up camp in there. The Sunsteel Syndicate, you guys, did kind of rummage through some of the stuff that they found. Most of it seemed to be pillaged, sundries, and just other random quotidian items that they seem to have been pillaging, leftovers and rotting remnants of food. But there were some survivors, people who had been taken captive from the village and held there in very bad shape. While discussing your next course of action, whether it would be best to stay there or just head back with them as soon as possible, you found out that all the orcs that you killed actually weren't all of them. There was an orc warband doing their nightly pillaging, ostensibly somewhere else, and who is to say when they would return? So you decided to lash together a makeshift piece of equipment, a lamb sled, to help bring the survivors back. Um, some of you noticed that there seemed to be something unseen watching you. Tried to track it down, but whatever it was, it managed to get away and flee into the forest before you were able to discern what exactly it was. But you spent another 3 or 4 hours or so trekking through the forest with the survivors in tow. Did run into some shadowy mastiff type dogs that were alerted to your presence. Took care of those, and finally returned to Tavos Ren, delivering the survivors to the care of the rector and company to make sure that they are healed and get the rest and recovery that they need. And you promptly returned to the bottomless barrel to sleep off another night of work with the awaiting a further meeting with Lady Kiyomoto and company to discuss the means of your reward. And that's where we pick up. So, as light kind of filters in above through the rafters, you'll begin to stir, and the sun is relatively well up in the sky. That much you could tell. It was a few hours after midnight when you finally returned, judging by your best approximations. And so, after your long rest, you wake and can hear the birds outside chattering, the occasional bursts of wind rushing through the trees. Sunsteel Syndicate, what do you wish to do?
That is a good question.
Well, I suppose the first thing I'm going to do in the morning, I'm gonna take a bit of time in the morning just to kind of chill, continue reading the book. Now that we have a little bit of peace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think Ignatz will wake up and stretch and then notice an odd smell and realize that the Displacer Beast tails that he's been wearing as like an ammo sash type thing is starting to smell a little funny. So he is gonna look around and go inquire after a tanner to see if he can get those cleaned up and turned into something more permanent.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a cool belt or bandolier or something.
Awesome. So Ignat gets up, realizes like, oh, this is probably not the the cleanest thing to be having. You guys were pretty wasted when you fell asleep and just kind of plopped down on your beds. It is suffering a little bit, but you've seen decay before with like animals and stuff, and this thing certainly does have a weird smell, but it doesn't smell. It still smells bad, but it's distinct from other odors. Um, and so Ignatz gets up and leaves outside. You've got your free food for the morning as well. Grab a quick bite.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And go out to the forest to inquire after a tanner. Do you just go about, or actually go ahead and make either an investigation or a persuasion check?
I'm going to go persuasion, because I want a positive modifier. Still not great. Persuasion 7.
Oh, okay. You kind of go and asking around. You spend a few minutes outside, which is a beautiful day. The evidence of the snow that happened the night before all kind of gone away. You look up through the canopies and you can see a blue and white sky. The clouds white and puffy, just kind of blowing overhead. The wind feels nice. It's a brisk afternoon, morning. And knowing about tanners, there's not... Basically, if you can make your smell, if you follow the sense of smell, you'll be able to find the tanners.
Okay.
You spend about 30 minutes kind of wandering around the village, and your nose betrays you. It does not pick up any sense of tanneries. After about 30 minutes or so, you pass some people kind of walking past that they've got kind of like furs and stuff, and you ask them, you know anything about tanners? And they don't really say anything about tanners, but there are people who know how to treat hides, and so maybe that would kind of be what you're looking for. They point you they point you to a little bit further down. There's a guy named Ferdin, which I don't remember if I've actually used that name before or not, but
I think I've heard that name before.
Okay, yeah. So they point you to Ferdin's place.
With an F?
Yes.
Okay.
And you approach and you recognize him as one of the palisade guards that you had aided and rescued from that orc attack earlier. Apparently he's not on shift currently. You see him, he's just sitting outside on his porch, just kind of on like a simple rocking bench, just kind of enjoying the air outside with looks like a pipe of some kind, and just kind of lounging. He sees you approach and just goes,
Hi there. And so this is the guy I've been told to go see about. Okay. Hey, I've met you before. Are you Ferdin?
That's right. That's me. And you see the half elven man, kind of thin. There is kind of a hollowed look to his eyes a little bit, but with the sunlight coming on, there seems to be helping a little bit. Given the recent events of recent history, it's not that uncommon. It's a look that you've seen before. It's like, okay. Yes, Ignatz, right? Is that your name?
Yeah, that's me. And is this like a higher ranking person that I would do well to know?
I don't think you remember like what his rank was, but like if he is higher than you, it's like within 1 or 2, and kind of like with the lower ranks where you guys are, there seems to be there's more camaraderie there, and he's not on duty either currently. So
okay, I'll offer him a hearty handshake, and ask, say, I've been told that you're the guy to see if I want to do something about cleaning these up, and I'll hold up the Displacer Beast tails. Got some
Yeah.
trophies when I was out and about last night.
Wow.
Like maybe to make this one into a belt, maybe this one into like a sword belt sort of thing, and maybe like a, I don't know. I got ideas. I just want them cleaned up so they don't smell so funny.
You
I
kind
think they
of
got like little bones in them too. Maybe if I could keep those, that'd be cool. Do you know anything about that?
he sets his pipe down, kind of on a resting stand on a small end table next to it. He says, he kind of takes it and kind of runs it between his fingers. It's like, yes, the does smell not quite fresh, but I think I could do something with this. Is Displacer Beast tail, isn't it?
Mhm.
How did you get one of these?
Well, to be frank, it almost got us, but picked the wrong fight.
Yeah, I'll say they can known be quite nasty things, but
I understand this was one of the little ones, so maybe not that impressive. I don't know.
well, still, not very common around here. So the fact that there's even $1, um, I think I'd be able to do something with these. He kind of thinks to a minute to himself, and well, how long you think about staying local?
To be fair, I think we're probably moving on soon. But if I take these with me as they are, I think they'll just spoil.
Yeah, no,
Um,
they won't last for much longer without some sort of treatment. Well, depending on how long you give me, I can do certain things. If time is an issue, I can treat them and kind of preserve them a little bit. That wouldn't take too much time. But if you want me to fashion it into something else, that'll be a bit more time. Take some care.
what about maybe you save the leather and make some leather strips out of it? And I'm pretty handy with smith's tools. Maybe I can make the belt myself. And
Sure,
I don't
sure.
know. Maybe this other one could be like a leather wrap for these blades of mine. I could do that on
Okay.
the road.
Okay. Yeah. I'll see what I can do. I can strip these, kind of preserve them a little bit. Shouldn't take too long. I'd say he kind of judges the distance of them. Well, if I can get Lara to help me. Um, 3 hours, 4 hours, around there.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. What'll it cost me?
Roll a persuasion check.
12.
12. Okay. He says, "Oh, and you understand, like as he's kind of talking, you seem to have gotten his mind off of something, and he seems thrilled at the prospect of engaging his skill set and focusing on a project. And he seems a little bit happier. That kind of 1,000-yard stare kind of goes by the wayside. There's almost like a glint to his eyes, and he says, "Oh, for this, don't worry. 5 diners is all."
That's the silver, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of like casually kind of give him a look. Um, he seems like a pretty trustworthy fella to me. So I'll pull out a fistful of silvers, and I'll
Okay.
say, not the best with numbers. Take 5.
He just kind of like chuckles to himself and does pick out 5 silver pieces,
Okay.
5 diners.
I know what diners are, so got
Yes.
halfway there. I start getting
knowing
lost
it,
around
knowing it's half
3.
the battle.
After 3, I start mixing up 4 and 5 and other numbers.
Yeah. So, he smiles at you, takes the 2 displacer beast tentacles, and picks up his pipe, and I'll get started on these right away.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I'll come back around in a couple hours.
All right. He goes inside the door, and you hear him shout from behind the door, "Lara!"
Cool. I will quickly rush back over to the other group, expecting they might be waiting for me at this point. And I'll kind of like bust into the doors, and when I see him, I'll call out, "Is 3 or 4 hours a lot?"
So as that happens, Mallory, what have you been doing in this time?
Well, I would have given Ignatz the Frostbrand rapier this morning because we had already talked about it, but I'm actually gonna do that before I forget.
Okay.
And then I
was counting it as having already attuned to it.
That's perfect. And then I'm honestly just gonna keep working on making my little poison vials because I don't have much else that I'm really needing to do right now.
Okay.
Oh, actually, now that I don't have that, I do want to try and reattune to the ring of homing. So I might do that right now as well.
Okay.
What's the ring of homing do again? What's that one?
It's the ring that I've been wearing the whole time, but we just found out was magic that I got from my aunt.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna redo that. I'm gonna attune to that now.
Okay. There you go. So that would replace the time toward your poison making.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because attuning is a very deliberate process. So
yeah, that's fine.
And Varish, you can mark off another 30 minutes of reading.
Key.
And so as you guys are just kind of lounging around, occasionally Helena, the bartender, who's kind of just like moving stuff around, preparing stuff. There's not a large presence. It's the middle of the day, and most of these people are working folk. They spend their days working and then their nights drinking and visiting. Making occasional small talk with you, gossip about stuff that you don't even find relevant, dropping names of people you've never met, and she just keeps on talking. But it's a nice, jovial atmosphere. She's talking about things, and you guys are just so awesome. One of the ladies came by earlier today, barely walking, the poor thing. She's so grateful, so thankful for everything you guys done, and she just it's just going off. And at that point, the door opens and Ignatz runs in. Is 3 or 4 hours a long time?
I feel like 3 is not that much, but I always get mixed up after that.
Depends entirely on the context.
3
or 4 hours. 3 or 4 hours
right?
of travel. Well, we do. Wait, hold up. Why am I? I'm too. Hold up. Must think accent. Brain not functioning. Well, we do have to be out of here pretty soon. There's not much left to do in the city, but we still have to talk to the lady this morning. So we ought to do that before we head out.
Okay. I gave those weird tail things from the displacer beast to old Fairden, and he's gonna clean them up for me so they don't get messy on the trip.
Right.
So it would take about that long.
Well, I meant blah 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 blah. Why can't I accent today?
You okay, man? You look like you need a nap.
I do need another nap. Just that fight last night really took it out of me. It was like there was an extra hour or something, just thrown onto that night. It's crazy.
Yeah, the night did feel really long, didn't it?
It felt longer than usual.
Well, I hope you feel better soon, buddy.
Thanks. But yeah, we better do that first. Better go talk to the lady and get all our business squared away before we head out of town. I'd like to know that everything's all taken care of.
Okay. Yeah, let's go talk to her. I think last night somebody said, like when we got back, somebody was saying that she got some info about the big one.
Right. Well, potentially
Mm-hmm.
has some info. So we'll have to inquire about that as well.
Should we go find out?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get the others. Where's Ilea? Anybody seen Ilea?
She would have and she would have told you guys. She went to stop at the rectory early in the morning to check up on things over there.
Okay, makes sense. All right. Well,
Cleric
let's
stuff.
we'll stop by the rector, and we'll grab Ilea on our way
Stop
out.
by the recta and collecta.
Collector at the rector. All right. Well, and where's Mallory? She's likely skulking about.
She's sitting like right next to you, but you lost track of her.
I just can't see her. She's right there.
So sneaky.
So sneak, super
Blind
sneak.
spot hiding.
That's right.
I'm like on your
Wait, wait.
left, like behind
Like,
your
actually-
shoulder.
It makes me jump. Crikey.
Clacky.
Crikey.
Did we have an appointment with
No, not an appointment per
Miss
se. We just said
Kimoto?
that we'd stop at the boy as soon as we were done.
Okay.
So
Well, let's
I
go say hi
suppose now is as good a time as any.
then. Mm-hmm.
So you guys leave the outside of the tavern, walking along gravel footpaths. It's brisk, and you can really tell that spring is really trying to get a foothold now.
Spring is
Spring is sprung. Yep, and the wind feels nice. There's almost you can almost feel a bit of moisture, like you can like smell and taste it on the air, but it feels nice, all things considered. And right about as when you're leaving, you see Ilea kind of marching up the path as well. Apparently leaving from the rectory, happens to run into you. Hi, they're the ladies we met last night are doing all right. Physical wounds are the ones that heal easiest, unfortunately. So, but Rector's wife is more than capable.
Oh, that's good. I'm sure that they'll be patched up in no time.
Yeah, I hope they get all better.
Shantea willing. We're on the way to see the lady then.
Yeah.
Go give our report. Let her know.
All right. See you guys.
But at the same time, it's not just a report; it's a bit of a warning because the camp is larger than we thought. So we'll have to tell her about that too.
Yeah. Well, considering that the village wasn't attacked last night, hopefully that's a good sign.
Yeah, hopefully we've scared them off at least a little bit.
About this time, did you want to say something?
No, nothing important.
Okay. You come back up to the lady's cabin. The door opens as you come in, and the same serving woman that was there welcomes you, ushers you inside. Seems like there's always a fire burning in here. Even though it's not particularly cold outside, it's still burning for the light and the cozy atmosphere. And you see the same people who were there the last time that you met: the rector, the sergeant, Dee, and the lady. Um, you step inside. D kind of looks at you, just kind of gives like a nod of acknowledgement, and lady came out and says, "Ah, welcome, Sunsteel Syndicate. Please, we've been expecting you." Seems like you've kind of walked in the middle of a conversation, but they offer you to sit down.
Okay.
Thank you.
And she looks over to you and says, "D informs me that your work last night was successful, and even a bit better than we had hoped. I understand that you were able to engage them and dispatch them."
Yeah, a bunch of them.
Yeah, at least the ones that we were able to find. Now, granted, there's likely more of them, so it's not the end of it quite yet, but we do know the location of the camp. It won't be easy for them to take it down quickly, so you'll have some time to amass the troops and mount an assault if that's your choice.
They had this really big one with them too. It smelled kind of even worse.
Yeah, a troll.
We got
A
rid of
troll.
him too.
Yes,
Is that what that was?
A troll, yeah.
yes, which makes the feat that you have accomplished that much more admirable. Dee is quite confident that her steps taken to discourage a resettlement will prove effective. That said, I feel it in our best interest to maintain the night guard for at least 3 or 4 more days, just to be sure. It wouldn't be beyond the orcs to feel the need to exact some sort of revenge or vendetta against us.
Especially since we don't know why they're here. They were more mountainous orcs, northern types. Quite odd for them to be down this area. But
Yeah, odd.
Dee says, they're right. These were the more of the mountain variety. It's not very common that the mountain ones feel the need to leave their homes, not on extended resettlement endeavors such as this. The lady kind of frowned and says, "Well, that is rather strange. Were you able to, you wouldn't happen to know the direction that they'd come from? Perhaps, I don't know if that'd be too difficult to tell at this point."
well, that would be the expertise of the orc friend here. She knows more about them than we do.
Well, I may know about orcs. Geography is less of a stronger suit of mine. My best guess is if they came from mountains, then there must be some from mountains nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time somebody said some specific mountains.
Right.
To the
Do I-
northeast.
Would I remember which ones we had suspected?
The closest mountains to you are way to the east. The Asian Ridge. It's on the opposite side of the province.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where we were going to look for a manticore.
Right. Well, that would be the closest mountains. No telling if that's where they came from, but that would be the nearest area.
Well, we can either hope that since they were the mountain variety that there are less of them to be found here in the forest. The green ones are enough to deal with. We don't need another variety trying to impose on us.
It did have a large camp. We took out about 10 of them, but we reckon there's probably at least another dozen.
Very well, then I think she nods to the sergeant. I think with maintain the night guard for the time being. And Sergeant says, "Yes, actually, we got now that we know where this encampment that they have. I've been planning to send a few of our guards to investigate and kind of lock down the area just to see if they are in fact still there or if they've determined to move on. I reckon if we do this over the next 3 or 4 days, we'll gather enough information that we'll feel a bit more comfortable in calling this whole ordeal resolved." "Very well. See to it, Sergeant." And she looks to you guys. "It's my understanding that you are have a mind for the road quite soon, correct?"
Yes, well, there's other matters that we have to attend to. And so, while we would love to stay and help, at this point, I feel like your guard should be able to manage whatever's left.
Of course. You have already done far more than we could ever have hoped for visitors to do for our village, and your deeds do not go unrewarded. She kind of signals to Dee, who nods, kind of goes under the curtains into the back room, and she returns a few moments later carrying a small wooden box, square, about that big, and sets it on the table with the clasp facing you guys, and says, Your reward for a contract rendered paid in full."
I'll kind of take it and open it and just kind of count real quick to make sure that everything is there.
You open it and you find 50 ivories.
50 ivories. All right. And I'll
Thank you.
take a bow. I'll take a bow and say, "You're very generous."
Well, you've done further than we had previously agreed upon. Originally, we were only expecting to track down the location and it'll beat on the numbers, but since you went ahead and through circumstances, whether you wish to or not, the fact remains that many of them have been removed from being a blight for us, and I would not feel comfortable myself to not recompense for that deed.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to take out some of the, disorder going around.
Yes, disorder. I understand also that the rector has some information for you. And
That's what we've heard.
it says, "Aye, that's right. Over the last day or so, first I'd like to report that the ladies, the women who have successfully recovered are doing fine. You should see my wife is fretting over them as if they were her own bairns herself. It's, quite good hands. They'll recover, given time, Allah willing. But in the meantime, whilst I had some time myself to inquire about some of these displacer beasts that you're looking for, the fact is that they're really quite rare. They are beasts that are of a nature that we call Fae. And the Fae creatures are they come from a different place from where we are. It's not very common that they wander these realms. How have you heard of the concept of the planes of existence?
Yes, I'm rather familiar with the idea.
Right, quite brilliant.
I think Ignatz has heard of these a little bit, in that he's from a different one.
Correct.
That's all he knows.
Mm-hmm. These most of these Fae beasts, these Fae creatures, they come from a realm that overlaps our own. one that looks similar in terrain and in form and shape, but is vastly different. It's called the Feywild. It's a place where time runs differently, and creatures of all sorts, never seen here, wander about. Many elves and elvish folk have a heritage that kind of extends through this Fey ancestry. But even the fact remains that while this plane does overlap, there are times when the distance between the realms are closer, and times when they are further away. And it's the times when this mirror plane is closer to our own where some of these beasts might find their way to cross over into our realm. While it is not very common, after doing some inquiring about myself, I found that actually it was some scholars that I had heard reports out of Lotus Concordia that this distance has finally been quantified, and it changes like a pattern. They say that it depends on the moon. When the moon is brighter and when it is more full, the distance to the Feywild is a lot shorter. Perhaps you might have actually heard about, in some places, during the night of a full moon, creatures like satyrs and small itty bitty dragons tend to appear and cause all sorts of wanton, chaotic revelry.
Well, as a matter of fact, we have heard of such a thing.
Aye.
We've had an experience with such a dragon, actually.
Oh, well then, you've already seen that know of what the things I speak about true. The fact remains that when the distance is much shorter, it's a lot easier for these creatures to pass into our realm. Sometimes it's on a permanent basis, sometimes it's more of a temporary transferment. That being said, it would be more likely and more possible to find a creature such as the Displacer Beast when the moon is brighter and when it is fuller. And even more likely, it seems that Fey seems to like unto Fey. These beasts and other Fey creatures tend to congregate around areas where other Fey creatures exist. And so if I were to wager, which I do not, I would say that your best bet would be to find and track down one of these creatures in about 2 weeks, somewhere in the deep Kiola forest. That's where all the elvish folk and their cities kind of have taken up residence over the last 100, 200, 300 years or so. Unfortunate, the East Kiola forest. Or the Kiola forest. It's directly north. If you just kept following the East Silo road up north, up toward Kiola and Seoul, then you'd be passing through the forest. That said, there is a... I mean, either way you cut it, trying to track down one of these things would require time, likely several days of tracking. It would be an endeavor. I'm not saying it's not impossible to do it, even though the moon is practically hidden during the night right now. I suppose it's still possible, but you have a much better chance of success if you happen to be within the forest when the moon is bright.
And perchance the moon, was it bright last night? The other night? 2 nights ago, I guess?
No, actually, the fact of the matter is that the moon is almost in the dark phase completely right now. which is the other side of this coin. There are two mirror realms that overlap ours. The other one is called the Shadowfell, which is a place that, well, as the name suggests, a place of darkness and shadow. The creatures there are devoid of any sort of logic or emotion, only driven by primal desires, manifested of smoke and darkness. Not a very cheerful place by any stretch of the imagination. In the same way, when the moon is hidden, the distance to this shadow realm is very close, and some of those creatures do find their way into our realm, mostly in places where the darkness is most complete.
I think maybe we met some of those.
It's quite possible.
Angry
yeah.
darkness doggies.
Aye,
Angry darkness doggies.
that sounds like something that would come from the Shadowfell.
Not very
Right.
nice.
No.
Not at all.
Mind you, both realms have their own dangers, but if I had to choose between one myself, I would choose the Feywild.
Mm.
Well,
Sounds like more fun.
So,
they have a knack for riddles.
some
I
of
love
them do,
those.
yes, some of them do. Now the other thing you should know about these displacer beasts is they are pack animals. They form almost like families. They are often the biggest and the strongest of the displacer beasts is the one that rules the pack. Those are called the alphas. These are much larger, much more powerful, much stronger, and by necessity even rarer than other displacer beasts. But I think if you were able to find one, if it wasn't an alpha, and you were able to frighten it off or convince that you were a bigger threat than it thought originally, it might either lead you to the rest of the pack or the pack would find you.
Interesting.
So we
Interesting
gotta find
indeed.
another one?
Right. Well, yeah, we do have to find another one.
Okay.
Well, I hope
But
that
from the sound of it-
information serves you. That's all I could find.
Okay.
Well, that's very helpful. I appreciate it. Any help is good help.
I'm just kind of like watching Varys, like, what do we do next?
Well, I think from here we have two options. We can either meander aimlessly through the forest in hopes of finding the alpha that we left behind, or we can wait another 2 weeks as we make our way a little more northward to try and find perhaps a better location.
Oh, 2 weeks is
A long time.
longer than 1 week.
Longer?
And 1 week is what it takes to get to where you wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And correct me if I'm wrong. 1 plus 1 is 2. So if we go there and make it quick and then come back, then is that good timing?
well, it would still take us 2 weeks. I'm not sure what you mean.
Is it 2 weeks to get there or 1?
It's a week to get where we want to go. It's another few days, right? But if we are going north to find more of these displacer beasts, the moon, in order to have the best chance, isn't ready for another 2 weeks.
Right. So what I'm saying
Right,
is
so-
we forget about it for now and come back later. And the timing
Oh.
works out. If we go do your thing and it is quick, and then we come back, then that'll be 2 weeks.
I got you. Well, that is entirely possible. I suppose the reason we wanted the displacer beast sooner was on the off chance that it gave us an advantage against getting killed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is obviously very bad.
Yeah, I guess that's the trade-off.
It is a trade-off.
Comes
But-
down to how much of a hurry we're in.
If we have to wait, if it comes down to waiting another 2 weeks, I would rather go now. If it's
Yeah.
all right with you, Mallory.
I am here to help you right now, and as long as we get all the tasks done, I don't have a particular order that I feel they need to be done in.
Right. Well, if that's all right with you guys, then I'd like to continue northward.
Okay. Yeah. So we circle back. So northward, you mean
North,
Ignaz pulls out the
north.
map.
I mean northeast.
We're going. Here's the road. This is where we are. Ignaz can read a map, kind of. No, read is kind of an
He can interpret a map.
generous
Sure.
term, but
It's
he
on
can
a
point
map.
to the map. He's like, we're over here,
Right.
and we want to go over here. And he points off at South Z, right? That's where we're going?
Yeah. Salesy.
Okay. And the road from here going that way is this one. And he points at the road going east from here. I guess he starts squinting at the map. I don't see a road that goes through the forest that could get us that way. Do you? And I like shows it to Mallory as well. Do you guys have the map pulled up? Because I can just share it.
Yeah. Could you? Because it's not on our page at the moment. So.
Okay. You guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're over here.
Right.
And
Oh,
we
I lost-
probably
I
just
lost
need to
it.
go this way. You lost
I
it?
lost it. I can't see it anymore. I don't know where it went.
Oh, I can
I'm
still see it.
sharing.
I'm not even seeing the stream thing anymore.
I'm gonna do this. And
Oh
I'm gonna
wait.
do
Oh,
this.
it was back.
There
Okay.
you go.
There.
Okay, map. We're over here. Devil's Run.
Well, because we talked about going up through the forest and not really taking a road in order to try and find a displacer beast. That was the original
Right.
plan.
That was the original plan.
We were gonna go up
But-
here and then like end up over here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's roads this way. And then Fende Cholat was gonna be our way through the mountains, right? So we could circle and just like bushwhack through the edge of the woods here, looking for displacer beasts. Just on our way up. It might slow us
Mhm.
down though.
Just so you get the whole context as well, Mount Vutal up there is a standalone peak.
Right.
So going around it
We could
is
go around.
a possibility as well.
I see. So we could go around to the north, or like here-ish. We could go around this way and cut over this way. Right? If we wanted to just like walk through the woods for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
think that would
potentially
definitely slow us down.
potentially get lost.
Right. So
I can't
think
see the
the-
map again. Why can't I see the map again?
I don't know.
I keep losing it. Okay. Now I can see
So,
it. Go bigger.
I think
There we go.
we got 3 options, and we're just kind of like Ignaz has just got the map out in this room with the lady and everybody just kind of standing around. He's got excited about being on the road again. So we could go up this way, just north of the mountain here. I know what a mountain looks like on a map. It's big and like a triangle. We could go up this way and then end up going like up over this mountain and then to the coast and then follow the sea around to Southsea. We wouldn't pass through many cities or towns that way, so we'd be kind of on our own for a long time. And riding the horses through the trees would probably be a lot slower. So that would take a lot longer, but we'd have better odds of running into what we're looking for. And probably also what we're not looking for if we go that way. Another option is we can go this way, down this line here, and then up to this big old city, and then up that way, which also leads us towards where we're trying to go. And then the compromise would be we go through the edge of the forest here, and then once we see the canyon, we go back on the road this way. So this would be a little bit slower, but we'd have more time in the woods to try to find the thing. On the other hand, if we do find it, we need to get the hide and clean it. And if we're not near a city, if we don't have plans to go back here or something, then we have to find a way to keep it from going bad before we can find someone to clean it up.
Right.
But that problem is less of an issue if we're here, because if we go up over the mountain here and we find one, then we just have a dead displacer beast and nobody to cook it. So I like this middle option, but I think also just sticking to the road would be a good idea.
I'm inclined to agree, especially since we don't want to get lost.
What do you think, Mel?
Laurie?
Mel stares ponderously out the window.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought my microphone was turned off, so I hit the button, but it was on. So then I talked to myself for a second, and none of you knew, but it's okay. I was saying, I think that while we're on a semi-form of a time crunch, that not getting lost is our best option. And so if it requires maybe coming back later, then that is going to be, in the long run, the better of the options.
Okay. So
Best
it's agreed
choice.
we go this way to help me out here. What does this say? This place. We go this way, and then there's this. Oh, there's like a mountain here. Maybe there's one of those candy corns or whatever living in the mountain that we're looking for.
Candy corns?
Some of the, Mandy.
You mean
corn?
the manticore?
Yeah, that
Right.
thing. We could see if it's got any like tail spikes that we could borrow, and then we'll be right next to a town. It'll be great. How's that sound?
Well, I think that sounds like a good idea. Good idea, Danny.
I had a good idea. Okay. Great.
All right. Well, if that's the course of action, then we best gear up.
So you're saying, pardon for overhearing your conversation, but
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Kind of forgot where we were. Yeah. Yeah. What's up?
you're on your way towards Southsea.
Right.
Is that bad?
Well,
No.
let's just say that The only people that I've known who go toward that place are people who are in active duty in the military.
Oh yeah, I guess there's lots of fighting going on over there.
I'd
We're
been
just
there
looking for a friend.
for years at this
Well,
point. Nigh
We've got a special interest in
generations.
the place.
The lady Komodo says, "Well, you've certainly proved yourself quite capable on many fronts, so I suppose it's not that difficult. However, it is not a place for the common garden variety folk such as ourselves, but good luck."
Thank you.
On the map, there's a big red circle that says level 5. It's a level 5 zone.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, thanks. Yeah, we'll be careful. Okay, well, I guess if all goes right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Well, if you do feel the need to return, I'm sure you would definitely have a place with us at the bottomless barrel.
Thank you.
Yeah, we felt very welcome.
Very welcome
and
indeed.
well-fed. Right, Mel?
Mol,
Swear,
Mel?
I'm good. I promise.
She did.
Does it hurt to talk, Ainsley?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
What kind of
Not
sick?
proud of you.
What kind of sick do you got? You got
Is a
the
great
flu sick?
question.
Sore
I have
throat
no
sick?
idea. Yeah, a little bit. Not sure what it is, but high school is a petri dish, so it could be
A little
millions
bit of
of
everything.
things. Could be a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. That's the worst. I had a sore throat when I was sick. That one was going around.
Oh yeah. Back
So,
when I died the first.
back when, yeah. All right. Well,
Today is the 11th of Alturiac, so 2 weeks from today is going to be the 25th of Alturiac, if it goes up that high.
If anybody wants to make a nature check to see when the next full moon might be.
Ooh,
Well, they
I
just
want
told
it.
us, didn't they?
yeah. This.
They
I
said
guess.
roughly 2 weeks. It's not an exact. He didn't
Ah.
give you an exact date.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
nature check?
Yes.
How's a 16?
Okay. Between the 25th and 29th, somewhere around that area.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that does give us some time. Hopefully enough time. Although it might be a bit close.
Also, the forest is quite big, so
So it's not like we're just going to walk into the woods and find one of these things. But
yeah. Like, you don't
Right.
have to come all the way back to Talvis Ren just to get into the forest.
Right.
Right. It's
Maybe I'll learn how to tan hides myself before we get back. Take a crash
New
course.
skill.
That'd be pretty handy to know how to do, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Well, there's somebody who's working on that stuff right now.
I guess so. Oh, wait.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
we need to go back and get that, don't we?
Fair
Oh,
enough.
yeah. Yes. I thought you meant somebody in the party was trying to learn. Yeah. So once it's been about 3 hours, we should head back over. But thank you, lady, for the money. We're happy to help. Anytime we're passing through. Much more time do we have on those 3 hours to Mallory? 2? Okay.
Well, at least.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said at least 2. At least 2
Okay.
of the 3
2.
hours.
Okay. Well, we have a little bit of time before we need to go anywhere. I say to the lady, do you have anything that we can help with that would, or that I at least could help with for like 2 hours? I'm also kind of looking between her and the rector.
Mhm.
Like, is there anything to
Well,
do?
Not particularly, not at the moment, no. I think the next big things we need to do won't be until evening, night watch and everything like that.
Okay, we'll probably be gone by then.
That's okay. But again, thank you for everything you've done.
Just kind of
Happy to
smile
help.
and yeah.
So with these 2 hours to kill, is there anything in particular you guys wish to do?
Just
In the
chill.
meantime-
Well, I'm gonna pack up my stuff. It'll probably take me at least an hour, the way I pack things.
Sure.
That's a good point.
I think Ignatz has a habit of packing everything every morning, just from being a soldier. Like whenever he was deployed, he's like, "You never know when you're gonna have to move out. If you
Mhm.
get the time, just pack." So
Okay. So that takes care of 1 hour. What about the other hour?
Eat our last meal at the tavern before we head out.
Enjoy your last drinks.
Last
Um,
drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buff out some dents from my armor.
Mm-hmm. Kind of oil it and clean it and polish it and all that stuff. The armor that you got from Akata Sandola, right? With the
Yeah,
trim and everything.
I made a note of it. It is the. I didn't make the note here. I made the note. It's fine. It's not important.
But it looks
Oh.
awesome.
Korik made my plate armor,
That's
and
right.
it looks great.
You enjoy your free drinks and food from the tavern. You have to surrender your chips that you had won, since you'll be leaving the place. But it was a good show and it was fun while it lasted. About the hour, Ignatz, you head back up to Ferdin, who is. You knock at the door. He shouts for you to come in, and it's a very meek kind of cabin house. Looks like there's probably only 2 rooms in it, and it just looks like Ferdin and this other half-elven woman, who you presume is Lara, his wife, and they're kind of working out on a back porch patio area, and the smells of like dry powder and stuff used to kind of clean and preserve the items. He's like, "Oh, we're just finishing up," but and does like the last half hour or so with you, and you begin to learn a few things about what it takes to preserve different things. He explains how the process is a little bit different for creatures such as displacer beasts, where their mode of decay is a little bit different than that of normal overworld types. And so you have begun to learn the skill of preserving hunted animals.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds good. I'll make a note of that.
The Displacer Beast tales are prepared after the manner you had requested.
Okay. I'll take the things once we're
Mhm.
done, and I'll say thank you, and I'll say my friends are waiting for me to get this done so we can go. But it was nice to meet you.
Oh no, it
Thanks
was.
for all your help.
Thank you. It was a fun task, and you see he's noticeably happier after engaging in another activity. So he was very thankful for the distraction.
All right, glad to help, and thank you. I'll just excuse myself and run back over to meet up with my friends.
Mhm.
Clang, clang, clang.
Clang, clang, clang.
Tanner's tools aren't a thing, are they? Like on the list?
I think there's leather workers tools. Is that what it
Leather
is?
workers tools. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm gonna give myself proficiency with that and just make a note that I'm not quite there yet.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can mark a half proficiency.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Um, is there such thing as trapper's tools?
I don't think so.
If not, I would just create a trapper's tool because hides are like furs and hides and survival things are a little bit different, I think, than leather
Leather
workers
workers?
tools. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have a look. Okay, let us proceed.
Okay, Sunsteel Syndicate says you leave the place, all your items stowed and packed. Gather your horses. Don't forget them.
Yes, of course.
They've been seen to. There's enough foliage around. There actually, in the few days that you've been here, there is a noticeable kind of like mowing down, clear cut vicinity of the foliage immediately around the tavern that the horses have picked clean through, because they're actually not that picky when it comes to the kinds of foods they eat, unlike cows. This I
I
know
found
because my grandparents have cows, and every once in a while they let horses from the neighbors come in to clean up the pasture, and then the cows go back in. So
That's awesome.
the horses have cleaned out that spot. Most of them are happy for the attention again. Lista seems the same.
Lista unbothered in her world.
Gotta love her.
Yep. Get your things, saddle up, and head for the road. So, which direction are you guys traveling?
We're heading east, right?
Yes.
East.
Weast?
West.
Toward Basharnat?
Yes, that's the one.
Alright. So, you guys get up on your horses, you find the road again, and find the kind of toward the central area. Instead of continuing north on the east side of the road that brought you to this place, you come to the big intersection with the signpost. And it says Basharnat, Panavor Dash, this way. And Basharnat is about 29-30 miles or so. So probably just over a day's journey. By the time you guys are leaving, it's in the afternoon.
Okay.
So probably gonna have to break camp.
So we would have to camp. Okay. That's fine.
We've kind of grown a little bit accustomed to the night shift, so
Yeah. And also the sign that says Vesta Rounds, that is pointing in that direction as well.
it says what?
Vesta Rounds.
Vesta Rounds.
I don't see it on the map at all. Oh, it's the hills.
Yeah. It's a region,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
a small region
Okay.
called the Vestal Realms.
Cool. All right. We heard that manticores might live in
That's-
hills as well, so we might as well keep an eye out for those.
Possible.
Okay.
Among other things.
I wonder.
Without further ado, we collect the horses, we brush them
Wonder-
lovingly, feed
Mhm.
them apples, and get on our way.
There
I
we
wonder if
go.
manticores are the things that kicked out the orcs.
Could be.
Wouldn't that be something?
Hey, Kaiser buddy. It's been a while. How you doing?
Just kind of snorts and kind of holds his head up high proudly.
Yeah, you're tough and proud, aren't you?
He seems to be happy to be moving. In his mind, there's an objective, and he's happy to be
All right.
on the road again.
We should let him be the leader. He should set our pace. We wouldn't get distracted at all.
Which reminds me, make an animal handling check.
All of us? Or
Yeah.
I got a 13.
hey, I got a 13 too.
Hey.
Hey, twinsies.
Did everybody get a 13? Leah rolled a 13.
I got a 19.
Good thing you rolled a 19.
got a
Yeah,
I feel
no,
like
I have to. It hates me.
Mallory's horse likes her better because she left her alone for a while.
Yes.
Possibly.
It's an inverse relationship. Goes opposite of every other horse
The
in the
less I
world.
see you, the better. But not you, just people.
Incredible. So, Kaiser still respects you and obeys you. He does not go bolting and running off like he normally wants to do, disregarding on pretense. And you also know that as a bigger horse and kind of some of his history, he's the most comfortable of the horses traveling through a forest. Kind of,
Makes
I
sense.
guess, off-roading would be a good way to put it. And yeah, so you guys begin and traveling down the road. So what's the marching order here?
We're going at a regular pace, right?
Yeah, we'll take a regular pace so that we don't get blinded, side swiped, whatever the word I'm trying to come up with is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go at a normal pace. Why don't we have you and Mallory in the front, and then me and Ilea will take up the rear.
I'm going to ride with my shield out and my pike in the other hand. Or no, pike easily accessible, but not like in my hand. I gotta hold the reins.
Okay. One second.
And in the sunshine, I am so shiny.
Yeah.
You're just like
They don't hear me coming. they
slightly
will see me
blinding,
coming.
slightly blinding, actually.
Dazzling, one might say.
Okay, remind me the marching order.
Ignatz, Mallory, me, Ilea.
Ignatz, Mallory, Varys, and Ilea. Oops. So we got the marching order there. Excellent. Okay. So,
These woods?
yes. Walking down the
There
road,
is
heading.
like an obvious road, right?
Yes, there's a road.
Yeah.
This is just the forest one for the marching order and stuff. So, heading, now turning eastward toward Basharnat and Penavodesh. Moving at a regular pace, you travel about 2 or 3 hours when the forest begins to thin again, and more of the landscape is kind of set before you. And eventually, you come out where the forest just kind of ends. The trees are smaller on the periphery edge, and there's a slight downward trend. But then you can get out to the edge of the forest, fully out of it, and you are actually fairly high up on a large sloping hill. This place, this current position, grants a fairly decent view of the rest of the valley. You can see way off into the distance what must be the Asian Ridge, this mountain range with jagged peaks kind of covering and extending out toward the south. You look immediately to your left and you can see what must be the Vesta Rounds, a region of the area that is dotted with these roiling and kind of like almost like pretty steep hills that are just kind of populating the area. You see the lone peak, Haydn's Peak, kind of there in the middle, and you can see the villages and cities kind of over you. You follow the road, you can see where Heidenvor is. You kind of look toward the south and you can see Panavor-Desh, which is a larger town. You can tell that even from this vantage point. And like way off between where the Asian Ridge ends, there's the gap where Mount Vutal is. And you can see that there is a relatively large city there, kind of nestled in in a canyon valley where the mountains come down and then they just kind of go straight and sheer. And kind of nestled in that area would be the city of Fendai-Shalot. Aliyah actually points and can see 2 or 3 of the bobakai trees towering up in the distance. You also see the more east you go, you can see sunlight reflecting off of resplendent surfaces on the ground, marshes, wetlands, and most of the land that you see seems to be cultivated. And recall that this province is known as the breadbasket of the empire. Most of the grains and produce that kind of sustains most of the larger cities is grown within the province. And looking over this fertile landscape, it's easy to see why.
It's a pretty area.
I get it why they call them the Rounds. They're really round.
Right. You don't say. Oh, how about that?
The road takes you just skirting the edge of where the Vesta Rounds begin. You begin your descent. So, because of the situation of the landscape, it's relatively open. 2 people can make perception checks.
I'm in the front, so how about I do one?
Yeah, go for it.
I can do the other one if you want.
9. I did that.
Yeah, go Mallory. Go. Get him, Mallory.
I got a
Oh,
17.
that's right. Yours is better now.
Yeah, I add a lot to mine. I got 17.
Okay.
Perceptive as heck, boy.
So Mallory, Ignatz, you're taking in this view. This is landscape from this perspective that you haven't seen before, starkly different from this plane of fire. And you can't help but thinking, this place ain't so bad. And you're just kind of taking in the view of this, the birds flying high overhead or in the distance. Mallory, you can see herds of cattle. You see most of this is farmland. There are they're not they're probably even too small to be villages, but there are small collections of a handful of homes, probably farmhouses that are by necessity further away from the larger cities so that they can be close to their farmlands to grow and maintain. It's winter, so it's green. And so nothing has really been planted yet, but you can easily see the kind of like, the fences and the lines round about that define these farmlands. Your perception check was 17.
Yeah.
Okay, I really need to do. Where's the book that I want? Wow. No, not that one. I thought there was a certain. Give me 1 minute.
He's like, now where did I put the stat block for the white dragon? I put it around here somewhere.
It was right here, I swear.
I knew I was gonna need it today. I put it somewhere that I could get to it easy.
Oh, it says right here in my notes, TPK. That's...
How could I mistake that for anything else?
Here it is. Okay. You see wildlife of all kinds. Some of the birds that Ignatz points out in the distance, you see they're not quite birds, probably a little too big to be birds. You see as one of them kind of turns to cross
You say they're big...
tangentially in front of you, and you can just make out 4 appendages kind of hanging underneath them. Obviously, whatever that is, probably not a bird, but it's like way off in the distance, and you can see 2 or 3 of them kind of flying together.
Oh, there's a white dragon. Look at that.
You look over to the sides, kind of down by the towards the grasslands, and you see one of those a movement, and yeah, it must be a prairie prowler on the prowl, on the hunt. But the road looks clear. There's probably a reason that the road was placed where it is, so as to minimize encounters with strange and other monsters. You travel 2 more hours, and you can see the Vestarans are now coming. You're approaching the Vestarans themselves, and they're just these grassy, round hills that almost at 30 and 40 degree inclines on some of them. They look natural enough, but there's the weirdness of the shape makes you wonder. But it's there's a reason that these parts of these hills have earned their own name. If there were like a national park, like the Vestarans would be one of the national parks. Your perception check was 17?
Yeah, Mallory's was.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. You kind of look over, and you see there's some more like kind of lichen covered stones that kind of litter the path around. As you get to the road, actually takes you right around the closest Vesta mound, and each mound I'd say could be maybe a quarter mile in diameter. The largest ones, and cut hundreds of feet high at the very top. And as you're coming down the road, you see some of these stones that are uncovered, and there's kind of embedded in one of these hills looks to be a statue, a very old and worn statue that is chipped in places, degrading. Seems like it's been there for a long time.
Mm. What do you make of this?
Is it like a statue of a person?
As you get closer, it does look like a tall figure. You get closer, and the statue itself is probably 12, 13 feet tall. And as you come around, it's wider than you thought it was. It's a figure of some dwarvish person arrayed in full battle attire. Just kind of standing there, probably with a giant maul, kind of both hands clasped with the heavy bulk of the maul resting on the ground, just kind of looking out away from this mound. It's really old. Like the nose is kind of like chipped off. Parts of the stone beard has been broken, and it's covered in lichen and just weathered by time.
Well, would you look at that? He's got a large shopping center in his hands.
Funny.
Negative inspiration.
Hey,
Oof.
hey, Barris, didn't you tell that lady you would, I don't know, take notes about all the old stuff you saw on your travels?
Yeah, about all the old magic. I don't know if this is old magic, but I guess it is a ruin worth looking at.
Is it starting to get dark at all?
It's about the golden hour at this point.
Okay. And we
Right.
can see
Well, this is
Bashar not ahead of us?
The road kind of curves a little bit, and the rounds kind of get in the way from where you're at currently. But there are signs periodically that say how many miles left before the next closest, for the next village.
Okay.
But I reckon this is as good a place as any to start looking for camp.
Because we're not going to make it to town by nightfall, right?
No, it's still a bit further, so we'd have to take a break anyway.
Okay. Well, I'll look with Mallory for a place to set up camp, and you can start taking some notes.
Sounds good.
Yes, sounds good to me.
On your old stuff? Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
Varys, you inspect the statue. Make a... Let's see. I'll let you choose. You can do investigation. You can do history. You can do arcana.
I think that my best is investigation.
Depending on which role you get, will determine what information you're looking for.
Okay. Well, I guess what I'm looking for is more of magic anyway, so I'm going to go for arcana. Ooh, That's a 5. Yeah.
You kind of look around this statue. There's no gemstone. There's no metalwork, as is commonly found with items of magical value. And it's so weathered and worn by time that if it were magic, you would say it would have been preserved better than it is.
Yeah.
You're having a hard time. Like, maybe it's just your mind trying to finding things that you want to find, whether they're not really there. But the armor, the maul, maybe those could be representations of a magical item, or not. You're just kind of wondering. You do find some inscriptions, some engravings that look dwarvish. Do you know dwarvish?
I don't know dwarvish.
Okay, but there is a brief kind of inscription at the pedestal of the statue.
Well, I wish that the rector was here to see this. I bet he'd know what this said. Oh, well. I don't suppose any of you know... I'm going to kind of call out to the group. I don't suppose any of you know how to speak Dwarvish, do you?
Mallory and I have wandered off where you can still see us, but, like...
Can't really hear.
Away, we probably can't hear you, but Ilya
All right.
stick with you.
Well,
You'd probably be reasonably certain that I do not speak Dwarvish.
Same.
Okay. Well, that's too bad. Okay. Well, if I can't discern anything magical, can I at least try to get an understanding of possibly how old it is based on kind of the plant growth that's on it and maybe the type of stone or how weathered it looks?
Yeah. Make I'll say this is a nature check.
Nature. Oh, that's all right. That's a dirty 20.
Okay. With stone weathering, what you know of the area and kind of the weather patterns, the wind is kind of blowing. It's actually weathered a little bit more, you're able to tell, on one side, on the left side. So it seems like the wind which is blowing seems to be prevailing out of the west into the east. And so it's weathered a bit more on the one side. And comparing kind of the two sides, this statue, and thinking about other kind of ruins that you've found before, eventually with ruins it comes to a point where they all just kind of look the same age.
They're just old.
It's just old. This is probably, on the order of 100 years, or no, more like 500, between 500 to 1,000 years.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, it's an oldie. All right. Well, I suppose that's it for me then.
Mallory and Ignatz are looking for a place to camp.
Yes.
Yep.
Go ahead and make perception checks.
I swear, Mel, you've gotten so much better at hide and seek just in the past couple of days.
Yeah, I think we've just had to do so many hide and seek like tasks in the last couple of weeks that my skills have definitely gotten better.
Man, we used to be evenly matched, but now I got a 10. Like, What'd you do?
Oh, I got a 22.
Oh, nice.
Mallory's like, yeah, so I was gone.
So you spend 15 minutes or so kind of looking for a good place. I mean, it's relatively flat. Um, you also have heard like there are stories about the Vesta rounds and the kind of monsters that and creatures that kind of live there. You're hoping that they're further like way to the deeper parts of the rounds. You kind of look over the distance, and maybe about a mile away, you see what looks like a small company, a small bivouac. Looks like other people are also breaking camp and setting up a place to stay.
Ignatz is just kind of like blabbering about something.
I'll call you over and kind of show my finding of an area, and then kind of look back over to you, Varys. Are you still pretty?
Yeah, I'm still pretty engrossed in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that panning solution, I tell you, it smelled something. Oh, you find something? I look over.
Yeah, over here.
Oh, people. Is that... You think that's good or bad?
I don't know. Does it look like there could potentially be more people off somewhere else coming back to this area, or does it look like maybe they've all settled into their spot?
You see tents. You have 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the distance, 22. From the distance that you're at, you see a lot of tents, kind of in a circular formation, but you also do see hints of some more permanent structures. You see a handful of people, and at this hour, you're starting to see like a few columns of smoke rising up.
How far off do they look?
About a mile, maybe a little bit more.
Well, we should probably tell Varys and Ilea about that, but it looks like a mix of tents, but also permanent structures. They might be trying to set something up here.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, maybe if we're lucky, we sleep under a roof again before we got to start roughing it.
Possibly.
All right. Yeah, let's go tell the others. And I will gesture for you to take the lead.
I will walk towards everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to interrupt Varys, though, so I might just stand there and wait until he notices me.
He's doing that thing where he mumbles to himself again.
Yeah, it freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
Do
Do you think he's doing magic?
I kind of like lean my head like around your shoulder and like look at you.
Wait, give me 1 second. I got a nat 20 on that, so I just go, ah!
Hi.
Ah. Well, you nearly
So,
gave me a heart attack.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Off
What-
like a
what's
mile that way, I kind of like point. There's a lot of people and like what looks like tents, but also it looks like they might be trying to build something more permanent over there, or that they already have. But someone's over there.
You think they're friendlies, or
I have absolutely no idea, but I could go try and find out.
you think you could sneak over there as undetected as possible and get a look? If they're not friendlies, then we definitely don't want to stick around this area.
It's true.
I could go with her.
No, let her go. Let her sneak. I'm sorry, but you're not exactly known for your stealth.
What?
And I know, real surprising. But I think it's better. I think it's better if we just like keep this on the down low. We don't want to start a fight if we don't have to.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna go with her part of the way. I don't like the idea of her being a mile away, potentially really dangerous people.
I mean, we can all go with it to a certain extent, but I think that we need to keep well out of ear and eye shot of them. All right,
Okay.
and then we just have to trust that Mallory's going to do her job.
Yeah, no, she's got it. She's very capable.
Right. So, how far is the camp? Did you say?
About a mile.
About a mile. All right. Let's get in close together. Once we get about, I'd say around 600 feet out, maybe 1,000 feet out, then we'll send you and Mallory to go take a quick peek while we all hide and take cover, and then you'll have to turn and report. Sound good?
As the sun is beginning to set, the prospect of darkness is rapidly becoming either a boon or a hindrance, depending on your next course.
Well, we better move fast then, either way.
All right. Okay, fast pace for halfway there?
Fast pace for the first half. Slow it down once we start getting in range.
All right.
All right?
Okay. Do you guys want to go in front then? And I'll stick with Ilea towards the back?
Yeah, I think that's probably our best course of action.
All right. I whistle to Kaiser and deftly mount up.
Mm-hmm.
So how you were.
We're getting better at that, aren't we, buddy? Give him a pat on the neck.
Is that the arrangement that I heard?
Huh?
Let me look.
Mallory and Varys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so me and Mallory will take the front for the first half. Again, moving at a quick pace to get within range, and then we'll start to stealth.
Okay.
We want to get to where we can see the village or the setup
Halfway.
before it gets dark enough that we need torches.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So, I'll say by the time you're a half mile out, the sun has set, but there's still enough like twilight light that it's not super duper dark. If you wait a little bit longer, you can wait for further darkness, or you can light your torches. But once you get to a half mile out, you can see a very simple wooden wall that kind of surrounds this area. The signs up ahead, they simply say, where's my note? Luthari Trading Post. And you get closer, you can see that the wooden walls kind of surround this place. There are some like standing torches that have now been lit. As the sun is the light is rapidly fading, both of you to make a perception check.
18.
8.
Okay.
So
it's kind of hard to tell because of the light fading, but there appear to be banners of some kind that are hanging out. You're too far away still to make out exactly what the design of the banners say. But you can see a combination of tents and small rudimentary wooden structures. And based on the distance that you've traveled and everything, you gather that this trading post is kind of at an intersection with the road that continues onward toward Basharnat and the road that goes south toward Panavordesh. This trading post is kind of the junction of those two roads.
I see.
I don't see because I got an 8. But I assume that Mallory will probably recount the information to me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, sounds like it's friendly then. Well, I say we still proceed with caution, but I don't think we have to be too worried. All right. Let's get the others.
So we catch up. And almost if by habit at this point, I pull off the headband and hand it to Mel.
Oh, yes, perfect.
Vision.
I can see.
I can see clearly now. Kind of.
We gotta get you a way to have dark vision that doesn't involve this.
Okay. Don't worry,
wonder
I've
if
been
I
considering ways to potentially take a level on Warlock. I'm trying to figure out if that even
yeah.
works for my character, which I've come up with a couple of ways that it does, but you get dark vision if you do that, so.
Just
Well,
as a
I
warlock.
wonder if there's any sort of magic. If there's any sort of magic that could help with that.
Potentially. We could look into it next time we're in a town.
Yeah. I mean, magic can do just about everything. I just don't know exactly what. Just don't exactly know how to work that.
True.
We're writing and chatting, I think.
With that, I'm gonna start contemplating the thinking about like dark vision and how it works kind of in nature and how like some species can just kind of see in the dark. I'm just gonna contemplate on this for a bit.
Varys goes very contemplative as he rides Prince with the rest of you toward this trading post, as it seems. You get by the time you get there, the twilight has fallen, and you can see some of the stars passing clouds. Once you get up to it, you can see that there is a gate that has been closed. But there are banners that are hanging up, and Mallory, you look up and you recognize the symbol of the Mardizeki hanging from these banners, the colors and design of the Mardizeki.
All right. I'll probably pass that information on too, because I'm assuming I'm probably the only one that recognizes it.
Probably. Varys might, but...
True.
You approach the gate and you gather that you can hear the people inside. You can smell the cook fires. But the gates close at sunset, it seems.
Mm. Is there anyone outside? Or does it look like it's like closed?
Make a perception check.
18.
18. Okay. There's nobody outside of the post. You hear discussions and people on the inside. And as you're looking at the gate, it looks like it slides, but you do see what looks like a small slat that looks like opens on the other side, probably for a gatekeeper of some kind to look through and gauge prospective entrance.
Okay. Am I up there by myself, or are any of you with me?
You're probably up there scouting by yourself at the moment.
Okay, cool.
We're not too far behind, though.
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably run back then and say that there's like the gate's closed. So the gate's closed. It looks like they probably close it when it starts getting dark, but it does look like we could knock and someone would come talk to us. So if we want to make our presence known, we definitely can do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Might as well. It's better than sleeping
Might as
out
well.
here.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, let's
Once we
let's
get
get on it
closer,
then.
we'll dismount and go knock on the gate.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you take the head on that because I'm much better at the not being seen and not talking part.
Okay. Ignatz
Yeah,
goes and
I'll-
pounds. And Varys, you say what?
Hello. Is this place still open? We're just passing through, and we need a place to stay.
Right as you get up to the door and the lock, you can hear that there are it sounds like two people having a discussion, very animated discussion. It just kind of sounds very warbled. You knock and you hear it, and you hear the other voice. You hear from some footsteps come up. The door slides open. And actually, there was a second slat, and the one that was a lot lower below. That's the one that slides open. So you're all looking up, and you hear it open, and then you glance down, and you can see a pair of green eyes kind of looking through. It's like, looking for passage to stay, huh? Where you coming from?
Well, at the moment, we're coming from. Oh my gosh! I almost said. Oh my gosh! Why did I forget the name of the town?
Tavosren.
Tavosren. I almost said Talzai for some
Oh
reason.
boy, that would be exciting.
That would be exciting. No, we're coming from Tavosren, just down the way.
Where you going?
Long term or just for the moment?
I just need an answer, son.
We're going to. But oh my goodness, I need to remember. What is the name? It starts with a B.
A bee?
Yeah, B. The name of the town that we're on our way to.
Beshar not.
Basharanats.
Oh, all right then. How many? Four of you with horses.
With four horses.
Okay, it's one emblem per entrance after nightfall.
That's perfectly
Insight
all
check.
right.
Roll an insight check.
I just want to know if we're getting scammed. I do not have advantage because I gave the headband to Mallory, so it's just a straight roll. Natural 1. I have no idea.
Yeah. You just see the eyes and hear the voice, and that's about it.
It's perfectly all right. Do you have stables here for the horses?
Yeah. That's all part of everything.
Oh, that's all included.
There's another smaller door that kind of opens before, and this small hand kind of pulls out, extending for the payment.
Yeah, I'll hand him the four emblems.
Tosses in his hand, and the thing closes, and you hear it latch shut behind him. You hear him shout, and the gate begins sliding open to your right, and you see a small halfling there with the kind of simple guardsman attire. It's like, all right then, welcome to the Luthar Trading Post. Come in. We don't want to keep the gate open too long.
Oh, all right. Yep. And with that, we'll
I'll lead the horse
hurry on in.
foot.
See, the halfling has got kind of dark hair, got a sharp widow's peak, and green eyes, and he just gestures in, kind of signals, and a few other guards kind of close the door. These aren't palisade guards. Mallory, you would understand that there are some kind of mercenary types among the Maruzeki for their own protection and trade endeavors. These are wearing the colors of the Maruzeki. And the gate closed behind you. Inside, you can see what few permanent structures there are. They pretty much don't have walls. It's basically just a roof. There are some tents that have been kind of put up underneath some of these. Most of these seem to be like booths of trading posts. And you gather that the Maruzeki have determined that being in this kind of equidistant position between the three largest settlements within the area is an opportune place and to provide shelter, foster trade, and presumably get wealthy off the investment. So you gathered in. He points, stables over that way. Anywhere that you can find a spot except for the central area, you can set up your tent. Make yourselves comfortable. Welcome to the Luthari Trading Post.
Thanks.
And with that, we'll make our way over. We'll set the horses. We'll put the horses out first, of course.
Get the stables. There are a few other horses that are already there and tied up. Some of them that have like the blankets on them. Kaiser kind of snorts at the one that has the blanket, and you swear he kind of shakes his head subtly. Um, but your horses are there, set apart. And I'll say the trading post itself, it's fairly decent. It's probably 1,000 feet or more in diameter in kind of a circular spot. And there's plenty of people here. There's probably a couple dozen. Um, most of them seem to be trade merchants themselves. Others appear to be travelers. There are a few kind of like almost like bonfire types that are kind of set up where some people are sitting around gathering, eating some bowls with some hot grub, kind of carousing. The tents are kind of more set up around the perimeter of the area. It's it's a trading post. A bunch of different people of all types.
Cool.
The night is
Are
yours.
there big like pike walls around the whole thing? Or
Yeah,
what kind of walls?
It's like log posts about that thick that have been kind of like shaved off and kind of coming up to a point.
Okay.
Not terribly tall. It's more like, it's probably there only for peace of mind more than anything. But it establishes a boundary, establishes a limit. And
Yep. And it looks like there's people keeping watch.
yeah, there are these kind of mercenaries that are kind of like patrolling, holding torches, and some that not so much torches actually. They're more like torch stabs that I kind of walk around with and kind of keep an eye out, surveying the area around about.
Okay. I will just when it's after we get our tent set up. I'm gonna try to clock whoever looks like they might be in charge of that, charge of the guard essentially, and just go check in with them and say, hey, ex-Private Ignatz, we're sleeping over there. If anything breaks out at night and you need extra hands, that's where you can find me.
Okay, so actually, there's my dice. So as you're kind of charting, and you see there's one of these kind of tents. I say tent; it's more of like as opposed to like the triangular type tents for sleeping. This one actually appears to have four corners with kind of a cloth wall around it with the colors of the Maruzeki, which I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. But you see a few of the mercenaries kind of walking in, checking in. Apparently, yeah, that's probably the place to go. And you kind of approach and you can peer inside and you can see a very unrealistically so out of place compared to the rest of the merchant place. Very ornate wooden desk, fine engraving along the edges. On top of this desk table you can see a few nice like a three-pronged candelabra, some papers and parchments on there. Looks like even somehow hanging on these cloth walls other maps of the region of the province, and even of a map of Andelavor itself on one of the side. And you see kind of bending down, annotating on a ledger of some sort, standing behind this desk, a red and orange haired person looks up and you see another fire genasi standing there behind the desk.
No way.
I walk in and I'm just like looking for somebody, and I see this person over by the desk, and I just start explaining like, pardon the interruption. I'm Private Ignatz. I worked in the Palisade, in Najak for a while, but we're just passing through. happy to help if anything breaks out at night. And then I just kind of like make eye contact with the person and register this reality, and I just kind of stop. But there are other like fire genasi in Najak, right?
Yeah, there are, but like with all genasi, they're not terribly like common compared to other races. And like the only other genasi that you met was Taya, who's eccentric in her own right, you know. And so, as far as like fire genasi that you've found, this would be the first one in a while.
Oh, I'll just kind of stop and he.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just kind of look him up and down. Ah.
He kind of looks at you as he kind of glances up to you as you're talking, finishes annotating, and kind of like sets the quill down, kind of has both hands kind of resting on the table, kind of leaning over it, looking at you with a faint upturned corner smile, and says, "Huh. Private, you say?"
And I will nod, and I don't know if this is canon, but I'd like to just give a simple greeting in Ignan.
Absolutely.
Just to like acknowledge, and kind of like make that cultural connection just really quick.
Yeah. He responds to you in Ignan, and he says, "It's been some time since I've heard the mother tongue. It's been far too long. I'm Carver. What's your name?"
Ignatz. You can call me Zig if you like.
Zig. It's a pleasure. It's not very often we find one of our kind wandering these parts.
I mean, I haven't been out here before, but I can imagine. It's not a lot back where I hail from either.
I've traveled rather extensively myself, and even then, it's a rare find. It's a pleasure. What can I do for you?
Oh, I was just. This seemed like the place to go if I wanted to talk to the chief. I just want to let you know that I am happy to help if there's any trouble from monsters or anything while we're staying the night.
Yes, that is a concern. Thank you. You look like you've got experience with the martial arts yourself. It's good to know that you're able to provide assistance. Luckily, it doesn't happen too often. Just the occasional raid from highwaymen and brigands every so often, but that's how it is on the good days.
And on bad days?
Well, on bad days, some of the other creatures that have called the Vestal Realms home think we make for a tasty snack, but doesn't happen terribly often. Sometimes it's no, sometimes there's ogres. They usually keep to the farther in reaches, though, so it's only... I've only seen them come close once or twice since the post has been set up.
How long has that been?
About 3 months.
Okay, so it's pretty new.
Yeah,
we didn't see it on our map. We're gonna have to probably mark that on here.
Well, that's the hope, that this will become a mainstay. Trademaster Zurin seems to think that this is a wise investment and took care of the risk analysis and everything. Apparently, it's worth being this close to the rounds with the prospect of profit.
I'll tell you this much, it's certainly on the road.
Varys kind of comes up behind.
This is Varys. He's a buddy of mine.
So, Varys, for the record, you've been hearing the strange tongue of fire speakers. as you approach, as Ignatz and this other figure whose name you haven't met yet are exchanging. And it seems to be a native tongue that other Fire Genasi learn. Ignatz, you turn out of the corner of your eye, you see Varys kind of lingering at the entrance.
And I'll wave him in like, hey, come on in.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
This is Captain Carver?
We don't really have the same sort of rankings here within the Maruzaki. It's more of a mercenary arm. You can call me Sergeant if you want, if that's comfortable.
Sergeant Carver. I like the way that sounds.
You know what? It does sound pretty nice. Maybe I'll end up keeping that moniker.
Say, don't want to take too much of your time. It looks like you're pretty busy here, but my friends and I we're passing through on our way going east, and we're looking for something called a manticorn. We're in the hills here. Yeah, that.
Manticore.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hills, and there's a mountain coming up. Have you heard anything about something like that around here?
Yes, I know about them. There are some companies associated with the trading post that they traffic in some of the more difficult acquisitions, and some of the things that manticores leave behind are actually quite useful, and there are certain niches that will pay very highly for some of the things that they go behind. And he kind of goes over to a side table at the side of the tent. He kind of pulls open, and there's a long spike that's probably about 2.5 feet long.
Oh yeah.
This long spike that kind of gradually comes to a very fine point at the end, and it's kind of like there's 2 or 3 of them that are kind of set in a kind of felt-lined display case. He kind of gestures over to it and says, "That's actually from the first manticore that I killed myself."
Ooh.
Oh.
Wow. And these are its bones?
These are spikes that form at the end of its tail. Quite dangerous.
Oh, so it's big.
Manticores are quite large, yes. I keep these because it was the first monster of that size that I felled myself. I mean, the other team that I was with helped, of course, but I ended up being the one to deal the finishing blow, and as is a tradition among some of us, I got to keep some of the trophies. So
that's great.
Hey, good for you.
These are awesome. And
you look around and you can see that there are various other trophies of some other monsters and things that you've seen before that or haven't seen before. Like this goes a bit beyond like bears' pelts and elk horns and stuff. This is more of the strange things. You see what looks like skulls and weird shapes. Maybe like finger bones that almost look like they were made of gemstones. A whole bunch of random and curious artifacts that kind of line this tent.
Ignatz, his face is totally unmasked excitement and awe, and is trying to, keep it cool, but also wants to know all about these things.
Right.
And then like shares his like displacer beast claws that he's got. And,
so look at that.
I'm also a collector. Yeah. This was actually just last night.
Really?
Yeah. We came from Tavos Ren, and they were having an orc issue, and we went to help them with that. Ran into a displacer beast on the way, and rather it ran into us and quickly regretted it.
You've heard of that orc issue. It's been a blight on our end as well. Some of the companies haven't been able to strike further west for about week or two by now. It's been a bit unfortunate.
I think, and I'd kind of give a look to Varys, I think we've helped. We didn't get rid of all of them, but we got rid of, what'd you say, 10? Was that the number? I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a lot. We got rid of a bunch of them, and so hopefully it's at least a bit better. Probably not totally safe. But, you know.
Well, either way, it's one less Sork that we've got to deal with.
Don't take that.
And I think if Carver's willing, Ignatz will start just geeking out over his trophies and asking him all kind of questions for the next little while.
Carver, he's all about it. He's Varys, you pick up on it too. He seems very some people might call it gloating, but he seems to be very pleased with the opportunity to display his trophies and explain all about them.
All his wares.
Yes. And he gives fantastic stories about how they came across and how they were beset by ogres, and there's this hill giant, and he relays a story. Actually, let's see. In such a way where you want to believe it. Like, even though it's out a little bit out there, you can find there's a lot of the truth to the stories that he's saying. But like any good storyteller, is embellishing and making things go about.
Adding flares, of course.
Yes,
that's naturally.
Awesome.
I'm for it.
He's in the middle of a story about how they were sleeping during the night when this strange hooded creature that was, while they were on a trade run to the northeastern part en route to he's on a Sitter route, that they heard this foul scream, and they turned and found this hooded figure with sunken eyes and a long drooping mouth that just instilled them with deep fear and icy coldness. When one of the guards comes in, interrupts the story, calling his attention to something. He's like, yes, he's like, oh, sorry, I tend to go and rant on a little bit. But please feel free to continue examining. Excuse me, there's something I have to see to.
Oh no, thank you for your time. We really need to get our rest for tonight, I think. So maybe I'll see you in the morning before we go. But and I'll say like the Ignan equivalent of good evening.
Mm-hmm. Saludos. Ciao.
Sure.
Ciao. Good morning, good evening, and good day.
So, Mallory, was there something that you wanted to do in this half hour or so that Ignatz and Varys have been carousing?
Probably not. I don't want to pull out poison here. I don't know where I am.
You see, there's lots of people around. There are some like trading posts. Just from a quick,
can I go through it?
Yeah, from the quick glance, the kinds of things that they have available. You see one that seems to be selling with pigments and like painting supplies. You see actually there does appear to be an apothecary set up. There's a tent that has a bunch of maps, surveyors, it looks like. And the other one that you see seems to be dealing with, you see like fine furniture, small chairs, like woodworking materials.
Can I go check out the apothecary?
Yeah. You go to the apothecary. It's a small, another kind of four-sided tent. Why is it always the same? roll a different number. That checks out. So you go over to this apothecary, and you see kind of sitting kind of behind it, fingers crossed, eyes closed, in a very kind of Zen position. A white-haired elvish woman, just kind of resting there, and as you approach, one eye just kind of opens, and she just kind of mutters a word in Elvish and says, "Hello, how can I assist you?"
I really kind of just came over to see what you have.
Oh, of course. I have healing tonics, anti-venom. I have a few tonics of resistance. She, where's my... She's got 3 basic healing potions available. And a few potions of resistance, which you know are a bit more expensive. She also has some things like flasks of what she explains as alchemist's fire. It's a very caustic substance that ignites when exposed to air. Quite dangerous, but useful in certain situations. Anything catch your fancy?
Do I remember off the top of my head roughly how much we've been getting our basic healing potions for?
It's around
I remember that.
50, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
always
about
around
50.
50. It kind of fluctuates a little bit depending on the position and where you're at.
Yeah. The alchemist fire definitely sparked my interest. So, I'm gonna ask her how much those are.
Okay, let me look at my book. Alchemist's fire. 1 flask of alchemist's fire. That will be 60 emblems.
That would be real handy, though.
I will definitely take one of those right now, and then I'm gonna go talk to my group that I'm traveling with and see if we would be interested in any of your other things
But
that
of
you're
course.
selling.
She, it's like every movement that she does is practiced to the point of, like elegance, even in very mundane actions. Like the way that she kind of bends down to move and pick up a small crate is done with a very practiced and fluid motion. You're not sure if it's just because she's elvish or if this is some sort of gimmick that she's got going on. And she hands you a small flask. The flask itself looks to be made of a fired clay. It's triangular in its shape, and it's sealed, covered, and closed on the top. It's probably about that big, easy enough to palm in one hand, and explains that the most useful way is to throw it. It will break and rupture, and the fluid inside will ignite. Be very careful, however, as it's a very volatile substance. And she slides it over to you as you hand over the 60 emblems.
Yep. Alright, well, thank you very much. I will potentially be back with my group, but let me go speak.
I will await your patronage. And she goes back and sits back down on her chair and resumes that same position.
Cool. When I meet back up with you guys, I'll talk about how she's got healing potions if we want to grab some, and also how she has basically giant fire bombs.
Nice.
So those things sound useful, quite frankly. Might be worth it. I say we go give it a look.
Yeah, I told her that I'd come talk to you guys and potentially come back, so she's expecting us.
Right.
Potentially.
Well, let's go get us some potions then.
On the way over, I'm gonna lean to Varys and say, "Hey, I'll pull out the ever-smoking bottle.
Oh, jeez.
I gotta say, thank you for helping me get this. I think you're right though that finding a time to use this when it would only help us and not also make it harder for us is kind of tricky. So, if you wanted to try to barter this or sell it for what it's worth to get something you think is better, then I'm with you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we could probably use it to help barter the healing potions, which arguably we're going to need in spades given our recent encounters.
Okay. I don't remember how much you paid for it, but I can hang on to it.
I've got an idea. I've got an idea of how much it's worth.
Okay. Well, if you end up wanting to trade it for something else, I'll pull it out. But who knows? Maybe having it later would be useful. I just don't know.
Yeah, it might be. We'll have to see. We'll see if she wants it and if she's willing to pay a reasonable rate for it. If not, then we can just hold on to it. I'm sure we could find a use for it eventually.
Mm-hmm. So we walk the rest of the way with Mel.
Okay. The Abish woman again somehow seems to sense the potential customers approaching, stands up and says, "Welcome back. I trust that your visitation has been fruitful. How might I be of service?"
Yeah, well, my friend here says that you've got a number of wares, and so we're just curious what you have to offer. Specifically, she mentioned some healing potions, some fire, and I was just curious what else you might have.
Yes. So, I left the page for some reason. But here it is. So I think I said 3 healing potions, 3 basic healing potions.
Yeah, 3 basic healing potions.
3 of the greater healing potions. And there's 1 of the superior, but that's quite rare. And there are various amounts of all of the potions of resistance.
Okay. Like poison resistance,
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature.
She also has things like anti-venom, alchemist's fire, and a few other things. I don't know what else just off the top of my head. Even like some more quotidian items like oil for lanterns.
Okay.
Basically anything that is a substance that is reactive in some way, she seems to have.
Okay.
Tanning solution?
She'd have like lye and like other antiseptic type things, sure.
I don't know why when you said that, I was thinking for some reason of like tanning, like in the sun tanning. And I was really confused why you needed tanning lotion.
It's not
fire
dark enough
genasi.
yet.
Fire genasi. All right. Well, let's start at the beginning then. I'd like all 3 of your greater healing potions. And looking at your resistance potions, do you got a fire resistance potion?
Yes, I have one.
Brilliant. Add that to the list.
Okay.
You've
She
also got
begins-
you got poison resistance.
I do.
All right, we'll take that as well.
So this is that's 5 potions total.
So far, yeah.
So, like a kid at the grocery store, Ignatz is gonna try to like slide a bottle, like a tiny bottle of lye, into the pile, just kind of like looking at Varys.
We'll take this bottle here too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. What's that total coming out to so far?
5 greater healing, or 3 greater healing potions, 2 potions of resistance, and 1 bottle of lye. That will be
A potion of-
1,500
a potion of-
emblems and 1.
Okay. Well, how about this? Since we're buying in bulk for you, I'd like to give you the opportunity to sell multiple of your wares. Since we're buying in bulk, if you throw in 1 more potion of resistance, how about you give us a potion for free?
Roll a persuasion check.
All right. Come on, Varys. That's cocked. That was good though, but it was cocked. That's okay. That's fine. That's going to be a dirty 20.
Okay, she goes, I think not.
Oh, it was worth a shot.
It always
Do you have
is.
Do you have any sort of discounts for bulk purchases?
Quite honestly, the typical consumers do not tend to buy my wares in bulk, so I'm afraid I have not thought of that as a potential useful item. People who like to buy in bulk tend to get as much for their money as they can, which I can respect, but as I am a businesswoman first and foremost, I do not have such promotions available at this time.
Very well. So we've got fire resistance, poison resistance, and 3 of the greater healing, correct?
You said 1 fire, 1 poison, and 3 greater.
3 greater. All right, for 1,500.
And 1 for the lie.
Oh, surely we can just throw the lie in there. Make it an even 1,500.
She slides the bottle of lie away from the rest of the potions.
I have an emblem. I can do that.
No, it's quite all right. Well, if you won't allow the lie in for free, then I guess that that's that.
No deal then.
I'm afraid not. If you're the type that's going to be so stickler about that, then I don't understand why we would continue. It's just a little. It's
She
just
slides
one
all of
emblem.
the potions away and sets them aside and sits down at her chair and just resumes her pose.
I'm still holding out my emblem, just kind of like looking between them.
Fine, buy your lie.
I'm gonna just, if this is okay, like slowly just like set the emblem on the table and reach for the bottle of lye.
Well, the lie's not on the table, but you put the
Oh,
emblem.
she took it away. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put the emblem on the table and say, "Could I still buy the lye?"
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. 11.
She cracks an eye open, stands up with the same smile that she had before, takes the bottle of lye, and slides it over to you.
Thank you. And I'll just kind of awkwardly back up with my bottle of lye.
Well, I wish you the best. I hope you can understand, though. We just have no position negotiating deals with, no position buying from people who aren't willing to negotiate for a more reasonable price. That's all.
Of course. I do hope that you will find more reasonable people dealing with such arcane items that have an inherent and very valuable value that is relatively fixed and inflexible. Do wish you the best in finding someone who will be able to provide such of these things as mine, which you do seem to be in need of, and it's a shame that such petty disagreements would be enough to prevent you from obtaining them yourself.
Lean over to Varys. I'm sensing some hostility here. Maybe we should go.
I'm just gonna kind of be like, yeah. Well, best of luck to you in your business endeavors. And with that, I'll just kind of take a little bow. You, because Mallory already got her alchemist fire that she wanted, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So, how do you guys want to
As we walk
spend
away,
the rest of the
once
night?
we're out of earshot, I'll lean over to Varys. She was kind of a stickler, huh?
Yeah.
If you think we can get a better deal somewhere else, I'm with you. Pat him on the back.
Here's the thing. She says she's a businesswoman, and any person of business ought to understand better negotiations. One bottle of lie, she's going to be so hard about that. Well, then I don't really care to do business with her.
I feel like on a tropical island much further north, what was his name?
Barnabas?
Bartimus.
Bartimus.
Yeah, Bartimus just kind of like sneezes.
What's that?
What was it?
I say, someone tried to haggle for a magical item.
The nerve. I think we'll just wrap up, go to our campsite, and probably call it a night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ignatz will stay up just a little bit longer to try to fashion like a fancy belt out of the one of the strips of Displacer Beast leather.
Okay. So you find a spot to set up your tents. It's nice to be in the shelter in company of others, even just being in the proximity, the safety in numbers and everything. Mallory, with your passive perception, you overhear some of the things that some of the people are talking. Kind of sitting at a fire near where you're setting up your tent. You hear people talking about the Pennavordash, which is the larger city to the south. And the gist of kind of what you're getting at is that there's a dispute among the township leaders. That the current regent and leader of the city is on his deathbed, and there is a succession dispute among who is going to take his place between two of his children, both of the Kaharji family. And you also know that within the empire, it's not a direct succession. Like the firstborn or the eldest is not necessarily the one that will immediately take the place of his or her forebears. There is a sort of element of politicking, where some of the landed elites within a large enough city can put their input in who they want to be their regent ruler. And so there seems to be a political dispute. And because Panavordech is a larger town, it controls a certain subsect of the province. The implications of this dispute extend further beyond just the village. It extends toward the other outer reaches. The two names that you hear are Daina Kiharji and Kaside Kiharji. I can put them in the chat if you want.
That would be great.
And both of those represent opposing factions and ideologies.
Do I happen to know which ones?
Roll, I'll say, roll a history check.
I don't.
It's hard to tell just based on the conversation. You haven't heard of these people before, as they're more local rulers. And it's hard to pick up precisely on what they're saying. But these people in particular have more negative things to say about Dinah than they do about Kaside. And upon hearing this, you gather maybe this is why help from Panavordech was slow coming from to help Tavosren.
Gotcha. And it's just a group of people just sitting around a fire chatting about this?
Yeah, pretty much. They look like travelers. You gather that they are natives to the city. And they're talking about getting away for a time.
Okay. Okay, interesting. I'm gonna ask Ignatz if any of his time in the military, if he'd heard anything about that family.
About I got this Kiharji family?
Mm-hmm.
I could try to roll a check.
Make a history check.
Kiharji, huh? That's a 4.
Mm-mm. Never heard the name before.
Ring a bell, sorry.
Where is the city? Is
Panavordech is to the south of you. It's within your province. Or it's within Jiahuja.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the road that goes south of the trading post, of the Luthari Trading Post, is the road that leads to Panavordech.
Oh, gotcha. I see it now. I was looking at the wrong map. Well, I was looking at the big map, not the zoomed-in map of the province. Cool.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Did Carver answer the question about where we might find a manticore?
Oh, that's true. I don't think he did.
Because we were chatting about it for a while.
Yeah. He would say that he's heard that manticores do prowl the Vestal realms.
Okay. So, like, this might be a place to find one
Could
in the
be.
future.
Yeah.
Okay. That is all. We sleep?
We sleep.
We sleep.
We sleep.
And you take a long rest without incident.
Yay!
I'm going to click the button, though I don't think we used any of our abilities today.
I don't think we did either.
So it's nearly 7 o'clock. This would be a good place to stop and pick up next time.
Yeah, that works for me.
Is that good for
Yeah.
everyone?
Speaking of next time.
Oof.
Probably not till December.
Right. On
Oh.
when is good?
I thought the
I mean, Connor,
24th
if
was.
this is...
Am I
Sorry.
wrong?
No, the 24th was the next Sunday that everyone said they were available.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 1, 2, 3 weeks from now.
Dang.
Bye, Caleb.
Bye.
Caleb.